Hey everyone, and welcome back to another SAT video. This is a question from the 2024 official Test Bundle 6 Math Module 2. Which expression is equivalent to 5x to the fifth minus 6x to the 4 plus 8x cubed? Okay, and let's take a look at our answers. Our answers are some term with an x raised to a third, fourth, or fifth power, sometimes the coefficient times some quantity, right? So there's some hints there, but regardless, the main concept you will need for this problem is factoring, right? Because we essentially need to factor our original equation and make it look like one of these forms, assuming one of these forms is valid, right? So let's begin. Well, for factoring, what you need to do is find the greatest common factor between multiple terms, right? So given that all of our answers really only show three or two terms in it, it's kind of unlikely that we'll find any factors common between all three of these terms. Sure, we have this 2, we can have a factor of 2 that's common between 6 and 8. Um, there's that, but let's also find some other common factors. Well, notice that we have an x term in each one of these, but the x term is actually raised to different powers, right? You might think, oh, it's different factors, right, since it's different powers. Kind of, right? You can imagine that at x to the 5 is the same as like x times x times x 5 times, but all of these have, some number of x's multiplied by each other based on the exponent, right? So what we can do is we can basically find the smallest exponent of all of these x terms and factor that out, right? Because you can imagine that x to the fourth power is the same thing as x to the third power times x, and then x to the fifth power is the same thing as x to the third power times x squared. So really, this x3 is common to all three terms. So if we were to factor that out, you would get x cubed, and then you have 5x squared, right? Because we basically take out three x's from this x to the fifth, right? You can imagine we have x times x times x times x times x, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we basically factored out three of them, right? So then we just get left with an x squared. Or alternatively, you can basically just say, okay, if since we're factoring out an x cubed, we just do 5 minus 3 in the exponent, we get 5x squared, right? Same thing here, x to the fourth power, and we factor out x cubed, that's going to leave us with a minus 6x. And then also we would have finally, a plus 8 term, right? So this is actually looking like one of our answers, right? We have an answer B right here. Yeah. So this one wasn't too bad so long as you knew how to factor, and specifically factor exponential terms, right? Now you know that whenever you have multiple variable terms raised to different powers, you can factor out these variable terms based on the term with the least power or the smallest power, right? So what we did was we just identified that as x cubed, and then we factored out x cubed from all three of these terms, right? And the way we did that and the way that was done was basically looking at the original term and then subtracting its x to the whatever power by the x cubed power, and then taking the difference, right? So we did 5 minus 3, then 4 minus 3, and then of course this one was where we factored it from the beginning, so we would have no x term left over. So hopefully that makes sense to you all. Let me know in the comments if anything was unclear or how I can improve on these videos. As always, please check out Khan Academy. I'll link it in every single video because it's a really great resource for SAT, ACT, and also a variety of subjects that you can self-study and just learn. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.